Good evening and welcome back to MegaFactory Titan, where we are going to start a brand new playthrough because there has been a large update to the game and it's overhauled a lot of stuff. So we're going to see what's new, what's changed, and what's gone away. So let's jump right in, shall we? I'll go through the list of changes on here, but basically there's been an overhaul to a lot, like everything. There's a whole new main mission system to change what the missions are more. The longer you leave them, the more difficult they become to continue. So you want to kind of get on with it, but you still have that option to build your factory and just deal with the harder missions, which is fine. So and the whole everything's been changed with the system here. So let's go through here. So we have the different factions. The old factions are the same. These are the same factions. They have some different things going on here as well. For instance, the Dawn Seekers. Remember the good times. Positive relations with other factions that last longer. We now have a system of happiness with a faction, reputation with factions. So the higher reputation you have with them, the better deals they offer you on trade, maybe with missions as well. So you want to try and do that, but obviously helping one faction might hurt another one, so got to find some balance there. The system of building things has changed. There's no longer any renting. You don't rent buildings at all. You have to buy them or produce them, so that's gone. But there is now a land claim system that you pay rent on land you own. So the more land you have, then the more rent you have to pay. And there's a wishlist system as well, where you can wish this land to hold it for yourself for a certain amount of time, I believe. So yeah, so we have the standard items here. We have the default starting items, which every faction starts with, these ones. And we have the optional starter items, and this is where new things happen. So previously you had a storehouse and a warehouse, and they would, if this is a 3x3, this was a 4x4, they did different things. They store items, but they can store more. This stores more and has a big footprint. You have a mini storehouse, which is a 2x2, stores less. And the supply depot is the large 5x5 one that was also in the game, but obviously this has been, and every building in the game now follows this pattern, with the exception of the 4x4. There is a 2x2, a 3x3, and a 5x5 version of pretty much every building. Smelters: mini smelter, normal smelter, mega smelter. The difference being the standard smelter smelts things as normal. That's what you might know if you've played it before. It takes goods in, it smelts it, it produces goods out. The mini smelter is a 2x2 instead of a 3x3, so it's a smaller footprint. Takes the same time to produce an item, uses more power, and produces more pollution. But because it's smaller, you can fit more of them into a small area. So you'll pay less on land tax because you're not spending as much time not spending as much land in the mini smelters. The mega smelters are the opposite. They are a 5x5. They use half the power and produce less pollution, but are a much larger footprint. So, but they're all the same speed. So it doesn't really matter which one you pick for speed. It's just depending on how you want to go with things. So the mini smelter, you can cram much more in and get stuff going. The mega smelter is much more of you're just a large, slow factory. Obviously, the benefits of being a larger one as well is you can put more maglivs into it, so you can have more inputs and outputs from it. So yeah, rather than this one here. So the mini smelter is going to be very good if you're doing single item things and you want to just produce lots of them. Go. Smelters, standard smelters, and the mega smelter, obviously, if you're producing a more complicated item, I suppose, that has multiple inputs and requires more things in there. Or, like what I'm going to go with, not really fussed about space. I don't think land tax is going to be that expensive for us. Famous last words, but we'll see. Power lines is now 3 different types of power lines as well. There was 2 previously. Loads of different wind turbine options. Factories come in the same things: mini, mega, and normal. You have transport trucks, which are different now. You get light and heavy transport trucks, as well as the standard one. And you get mini excavators, light and heavy excavators. We had the light and heavy before. The mini one's a new one. It can only carry 3 items, but it's really, really quick. So I think swarms of them would probably be very good for clearing a large area out. But of course, you have to pay maintenance on them, so the more you have, yeah. And the different factions do different things. So obviously, this one, smooth operating, once mission, you can request a different set of rewards. I've not played as these, so I don't know. These are apparently good for starting for new players, so for starting players. The mining emirates are quite appealing. They can mine in areas they don't own, which is quite nice. But if you mining somebody else's faction, if you mine there as well, they probably wouldn't like you either. But if you mine there, they won't like you for it. So yeah, I'm not sure about neutral areas. I'm not sure how that works there. Increased disposal speed as well. I'm not sure that means they can dispose of goods like trash and things faster. So they get stackable storehouses to start with as well. They're quite a nice looking starting function, but we're not going to go with them. We're not going to go with them. The Novometrics are science people. They can overclock their research labs, which makes them have double research, but they can explode. It's double research per recipe consumed, so they use half the resources and get double the research out of it in the same time. So you get double research for a single recipe. So they're quite nice for research. Also, Oracle gets significantly longer warning time for a crisis. Crises is a new thing. I've seen weather effects, so I haven't seen them, but I've read them. I assume it's going to be sandstorms or lightning, something like that. So we'll see how the crisis system works. Interesting. Red Citadel are the combat people. They believe that Titan is to be theirs. They can wishlist more land plots, which prevents allied and neutral factions from settling there. So you can wishlist more stuff around you. I don't think you pay rent on wishlisted things. So it's just someone going, I want that. No one else settle there, and everyone's like, oh, okay. And their combat vehicles can function as exploration vehicles, which is quite nice. They are all combat based. Not going to go with that. Saturn's Chosen are the race I think we're going to go with, or faction we're going to go with. They produce power, which is nice. They can produce counterfeit artifacts, which is quite nice because you can sell them off-world to unspecified buyers, which is quite nice. I suppose you'll get caught every now and then doing an artifact. I don't know. We'll see it. But they have air travel, and based on the previous playthrough I did, air is very powerful. So we're going to go with these because this seems like a good start, and we'll see how it goes here. So Terran Legacy is the ones we started with last time. Backroom Dealer, for a price you can force a faction that sells a resource to immediately restock, so you can get more stuff from them. Never really used that when I played through them. The augments I did use, you can add extra augments to vehicles, that things like make them faster, make them store more, that sort of thing. So harder armor, better weapons, that sort of thing. And the orbital exchange, they start with fast maglevs, and you can bribe most factions to increase relations with them, which would be nice. So you bribe them and then get cheaper stuff from them. And you can purchase any vehicle you encounter owned by anybody. So the pirates turn up with vehicles, you just buy them all and they can't attack you. So, well, we're going to go with Saturn's Chosen, and we're going to go with air permit there. I was kind of tempted with the mining Emirates, but we'll go with Saturn's Chosen. And then if things go wrong, which they probably will, we'll probably try someone else. So let's play. We're going to play on normal. You can customize the game if you don't want combat. This game seems to be very combat focused. That's sort of how it's leaning now. You can turn it off here, you can turn off enemies here, so there's no enemies going on there. And you can change things so you can make life really easy if you want to, or really hard if you want to do it. So but we're going to go with normal, and that's just the normal playthrough and how things go. So click, let's go. So we are met with a message from the Greater Saturn Federal Authority. Welcome to Titan, my friend. To deploy here, your investor took out a huge loan from us with heavy interest. Your financial survival is measured in days. Yes, it is. We'll get that here. They're basically the police. They don't necessarily own Titan, but you have to get permits from them to do things on Titan, so I guess they kind of do. Luckily, we already have an outpost in need. If you can produce us resources and build structures, we'll give you the money you need to pay us back. How nice. Friendly of them. Okay. Okay, so we have our starter quadcopter, and we want to explore some things. So you'll see these are shining. That means they can be picked up. So if we mouse over to here, bump, right click, we found a mini excavator. And we picked this one up, and we found agrochemicals. Sandstone down there. Let's have another bit of an explore around. Let's have a look, see. You want to pick up the random things on the floor because you might be able to find an artifact. Oh, that's very nice. You might find like a map of the area, which is very nice. A tune-up augment, awesome. Okay, let's the tune-up augment makes the vehicle maintenance cost cheaper, which is awesome. So we have 4 days until we're bankrupt. This bar here shows us how much time we have left. So 4 days till we're bankrupt. Previously, you could rent vehicles and buildings and maglevs and things. That's gone. You can't rent things anymore. You have to produce them yourself, or I assume buy them from other factions. I don't know about that, but and if you hit 0 money, you fail. Game over. So we are currently spending 6,000 a day on loan, 31 on the mini excavator, and 5 on the quadcopter. So The quadcopter will now drop down to being half that, which I think should be 2 because it reduces the maintenance cost by 5. We probably want to give it to this here, the maintenance, this one here, because this is costing us way more money per day. Or we could just sell this and get rid of it, but it was free, so we'll keep it for the minute. Let's see whether we can find anything else around here. We have a mission as well. So let's go, we've got basalt and this is sandstone. This is the greater Saturn areas down here. Right, I think we'll settle down here. So what I'm looking for is these are resources. These are all resources, and resources are all finite. Once you mine them, they are gone. They're not infinite. They're gone. There are resources underground you can mine, but again, they're finite. So, and we can't research that yet. So what I'm looking for is something that refines into concrete, and I know we want concrete because we have an incoming call. If I answer this call here, my friend, we'd like to buy 25 building frame for 1,485 MC million credits. Finish within 18 minutes as a bonus. Now, this is real time. And if you answer the call quicker, this number will be slightly higher because it's when they call you the timer starts, not when you answer. So I think this is 20 minutes we get to start with, and it just rounds down to the nearest amount. If you complete it within the time, you get to choose one of these, what you want to do here. So we can either have another cargo quadcopter, a rover, an inventory augmentation, which increases the space in the vehicle, or money. I'm going to go with money. You can ask for a different mission and it cancels this one, and you'll get a new one later that's different, and you won't get the same building frame thing. But we want to do this. We want to do it because it's our first mission. And we want money because we need to pay you off. So money. Thank you. They want building frames. Now, how do we make building frames? Well, luckily, there is a wonderful system in here where you can find out everything through clicking. If you click this button, this gold button here, the gold button actually has a timer. I don't think you can see that there, but it's actually a timer. It will count down to 0, and when it counts down to 0, you lose the bonus mission. That's the timer. If you click this here, it tells you building frames are produced in the factory, mini factory or mega, and is produced from concrete, titanium, copper, silica, or steel. Now, if it's red, it means we don't have it. We don't have, we haven't researched that yet, so we can't do that. So I want to do concrete because concrete's easy. If you click concrete, it tells you that's made in a smelter, and it's made from basalt, limestone, or sandstone. And sandstone is made from produced by the excavators. So sandstone's in the world. Here is sandstone. So we can, if you mouse over it, it says refines into concrete and silica. So that's what we want. We want to do this. So let's buy this piece of land here. This seems good. Buy land, that one, costs 1,200. The next piece of land will be 1,400. You can sell land now, so you haven't got to worry about having too much land. If I come out of this and go back up here again, see now we have 150 a day we're paying on property taxes. So once you've used all the resources up and you haven't built there, you can just get rid of the land and don't worry about it being costing you too much money. So, but we want this land now. And we want to get building frames. So let's set up a very, very simple system for building frames. We need a factory to make the building frames. So if we, well, first and foremost, what we need to do actually is we need to click on the only option we have and land our headquarters. So let's put our headquarters up here, out the way, put on, there you go, and unpause the game. Then the rocket will come down and the headquarters will be built. Doesn't matter where you put buildings. Doesn't matter. It's not important. Because you can move buildings. You can, in the demolition options, there is a relocate building mode. You click it, you can move building. It doesn't cost you anything at all. It's completely free. So you can always relocate buildings. Doesn't matter where you put them. That's always good. So now we have this, we can unlock new things because we don't own any factories yet. So let's start at the beginning. Let's start in transport and let's go through. So transport, we have pull maglev, push maglevs. I'll explain the difference between those in a minute. Vehicle overpass allows vehicles to travel over the top of maglevs. These are the different cargo trucks we have, and we have quadcopters. We own 40 of these already, so we don't really need any vehicles, but we get some anyway, but yeah. So, and these are all things we haven't unlocked yet. There are different speeds of maglevs. That's what these one here. There are different speeds of them, but the maglevs, there's a push and a pull version of each of them. I'll explain that when we build things. So, but we want to open our starter package. This is new. So, boom. Headquarters can provide 3 items, but you can only choose one of the 3. So, as I explained before, you pick one and you don't get the other 2. You can research them later to build them yourself, so they're not lost, they're just, you don't get them now. Now, we're not fussed about trucks, transports at all, because we're going to use quadcopters for anything, so it doesn't really matter. I think I'm going to go with the standard cargo rover, so the light transport truck. It carries 35 resources, it's faster than heavier transport, it can be augmented, so that's fine. The heavy one carries 50, which is nice, but it's very slow, a moderate speed. And the cargo rover is very, very quick, carries 25 items, but can't be augmented. Actually, you know what? We're going to go with cargo rover. We're going to go with the big one, the small one, because I'm not going to use them. We're going to use air. Air is so much more powerful than Land Rovers because you don't have to go around lakes, you just fly over them. Let's just pick that one, that'll do, and that'll be good for picking up random stuff, doing things from places. So, and we now have 10 of these. Boom, there you go, awesome. In storage, we want to grab one of these storage things here. So, we can have 100 storehouses, which are 3x3 and store 50, 25 4x4, which store 200, 10 5x5, which store 500, or 200 2x2s, which store 25. It's all the same, you all get 5,000 resources, storage. But depending on how you want to build your factory, depends on which one you want to do. I'm going to go for the supply depots later. That's what I'm doing. I want to go with 5x5. We're going to build bigger factories because it's less power, and producing power isn't difficult, but just it's yeah, I think I want to go with a larger system for maglevs and things like that. But I'm going to go with the standard storehouse because you get 100 of them, and it's quite useful to have more of them because you can then dot them around in places and not worry about. So rather than just 10, and then we probably won't be able to build anymore because we won't have researched them in time. So 100 gives us a nice buffer. So let's go with 100 of those. 100 of those now. Hey. So we want to put down a storage because we want to mine this here. So let's put down one of these storages here. We want to mine this here. Now we do have an excavator, don't we? There he is. So I'm going to say, hey, would you mine this sandstone and put it in here? So we'll right click the sandstone, picks up from sandstone. We'll right click on this, drops in there. Awesome. And we pause game. Here it goes. He's a quick little thing. Just nice. So you'll do that there. Now something else you want to be doing is filtering your storehouses. Mainly because if you don't have a filter, they will accept everything. So if you have a maglev pushed up to it and then you're producing concrete and producing steel, for instance, it will accept both of them. And you might not want the steel in them because the steel can't come at the other end because it's designed for concrete. So I'm going to filter this to be sandstone because that's what we want inside this one here. It's also useful because it shows you on it what it is. So if your excavators mine the whole area up, you'll then be, what were you mining? Oh yeah, I filtered it, so I know. You can filter the excavators as well, and you can name stuff as well. So you can do many options for that. Miners will only mine an area that you have told them to mine in. So this excavator will only mine all the sandstone in this area, this lump here that we've told it to. It won't go over here and start mining anything else over here, even if there is sandstone. It won't go to a different, it won't go over here and mine this sandstone because it only mines all this lump here. And once it's done, it will go, hey, I need orders, and you have to tell it to go somewhere else. So you don't have to worry about them wandering off and not knowing what they're doing and where they are. So okay, so we have sandstone here. So we want to get sandstone into a smelter, which is going to be our next option, extraction. Well, extraction is actually this one here. So let's choose these. I picked the standard excavators. The mini ones are nice, but they only carry 3. The standard carry 10. The heavy carry 80, but they're very slow. So you should use cargo vehicles to grab from them. So rather than have them mine and drop off in a storehouse, you just have them mine and you'd have vehicles going backwards and forwards to get them. Very nice for long range places where you want to mine lots of resources and have vehicles going backwards and forwards between them. But right now we're going to go with the light ones because that's just the standard miner, and it's a good balance. It's a good balance. Well, I'm going to put one down because we've got a mini one and we're going to see how well the mini one does. Production. Now in production we get 2 starter packages. One is a smelter, one is a factory. And as I explained before, you can pick the mini ones, which are smaller, more power and more pollution, or the mega ones, which are low pollution, low power, or the standard ones, which are just standard. I'm going to go with standard. I do want to go with mega later on when we start building our main bus, but right now I'm just going to go with the standard ones because they're easier to maintain. Well, they're just, we know how they work. They're 3x3, so we're going to go with that, and we'll go to the mega ones later when we build things. But the 3x3 is just a nice the same size as this here. We want to put down a smelter. I'm going to move him 2 tiles away there, like that. And I moved him 2 tiles because we need to connect the 2 up. So we need to give him a recipe as well. So click on him here. Concrete. You can produce concrete from basalt, limestone, sandstone, or reprocessed slag. Now you can leave all the items ticked, and if you've only got 1 input like we have here, it won't matter, it'll only get 1. But if you have a bus system where you've got multiple storehouses storing multiple different things that might be connected to different smelters, you probably want to switch off the recipes and only have 1 recipe doing the thing you're doing. So we know sandstone is going to be for our concrete. I don't want to be using limestone because limestone might be used for making sorbent, I don't know, or agrochemicals. I don't know what I might use it for in the future. So I don't want to use limestone for that. I want to save that for another thing. So we'll just go with sandstone. So here we go. Then from here, we could put it into a factory. So we'll pick the other starting package, which is the factory. Again, same deal. We're going to go with the standard factories, which are 3x3. Boom. 1, 2. I'll put it there. Boom. And then you will go into the factory. But what I want to do is I want to put a buffer in between the 2. And the reason for that is because of timing. If I click building frame on this here, we know we're going to use concrete. So let's untick all these here for concrete. And that's because of the timing. This takes 1.2 seconds and 2 concrete to make a building frame. This takes 3.8 seconds and 1 sandstone to make a single concrete. So it's 3 and a little bit time slower. You need 3 smelters to produce enough concrete in time for this to run. In fact, you need 6 because it's 2 concrete. So you need 6 and a little bit because it's actually 3.6 seconds if you times it by 6, times it by 3. And this is 3.8. So it's 3 and a little bit smelters to 1 if you're trying to get the ratios correct. I'm not all that fussed about it, at least right now. Might do that later, but we'll see. What I want to do is I want to grab this, I want to move this over here, and then I'm going to take another storage, put it there, and then we'll filter this storage to be concrete because we're going to produce the concrete. And then we can move this up here, like that, and this will take the concrete from here and then drop it in its own storage here, which is going to be filtered to building frames. So there we go. Good habit to get into filtering them because you will regret it if you don't, and then you'll be like, why am I not getting any building frames? Oh, because it's full of concrete, because it shouldn't be like that. So of course we need to transport the goods between them. We could get a cargo, a copter or a transport vehicle moving them around. We could do that, or we can use belts. So the belts are the maglevs. These transport goods around. There are 2 versions. They're different speeds, but there are 2 versions. There's a pull and a push. The pull maglev means that the building it is connected to. So if I do it here, click, there you go, boom. The building it is connected to will pull from buildings further down the line when it wants. So this will want a sandstone, a single piece of sandstone, 0 of 1. It will ask this for a single piece of sandstone. 1 piece of sandstone will come along, go along here, into here, be processed, and then once it's finished processing, it will request another piece of sandstone. At this range, it's fine because it's very close, so there's no delay. However, if there's a long line, you might want to pull a push maglev. Push maglevs, instead of it requesting a single item, it will request as many items as it can before it fills the whole belt up. So the belt becomes a storage area, basically. So, like this one here, when this finishes producing sandstone, producing concrete from the sandstone, it will request 1, and 1 will leave the storehouse and end up coming to here. So it comes out, travels down here, goes into here. The push one will have 2 sat on this belt ready for the next let's go. So that's different. Push will push all the items into a storage. Pull will means that the storage or production building will pull an item out. Very simple. I tend to use pull maglevs a lot because I have it's just my preferred way of doing things. So we're going to do that here. Boom, all the balloons, they're all connected now. There you go. So obviously storehouses will try and pull up to 50 items because that's what they store. So it will pull 50 items, store 50 items from this until it's full up completely, and then this building will stop. It doesn't block the belts. I do that because then if I have like a second item coming in from somewhere, the belt isn't blocked for the second item coming in. This is all one system, so push maglevs will work here. There are different uses for them, and they're both just as valid depending on how you want to build things. I'm just going to go with the pull maglevs because it's easier for my brain to process. So the last thing we need to do is get power. So power is very easy. We have starter packages going here. So boom. First we get power lines. Standard power lines can be built offshore. They can actually be built in water. So that's useful for transversing water. The reinforced power lines are unattractive to enemies. So enemies don't attack them, but they're shorter range. So could be useful if you know your power lines are going near enemy lines. So you don't have to worry about the power line being chopped down. And they're resistant to damage as well, so they don't get as much damage from crisis, I guess. Well, the underground power lines are long range but weak to damage and attractive to enemies. Attack them. They want to come for these and take out your power grid. Now I'm going to pick the underground ones because they're the longest range, so you put less of them down, and we can always defend them if we need to, if we're going to build lines around that. We'll see. You can unlock these later on as well, so if we need to use them from places, we'll look at that. So these obviously can't be placed in water, whereas these can, so we have to go around water for these, but we'll go with the underground power lines. We have power storage unlocked for free anyway. That's one of our faction bonuses. That's basically a giant battery. And the last one, we have a wind system we can pick. So we've got vertical, spiral, helical, and ducted. Don't know why I'm having difficulty saying it. The difference between them, obviously they produce different power, but there's also, they have to stay a certain range from each other. They get affected by distance. So this one is resistant to damage and unattractive to enemies, so they don't attack it, but it needs to be open spaced. It can't be clustered well. This one is excellent clustering, good efficiency, but low power, reduced power generation. So it's got low power, but can be clustered closer together for space. If you put it near steep terrain, like the edge of water, or there's ravines and things, it will gain bonuses. The helical one is good clustering, weak to severe weather, but has a bonus in open wide spaces. And the ducted one is in water. You can put it in lakes. I think I'm going to go with this one because it's got good clustering. You can put it in cluster. Although I'm going to use solar power, so maybe we'll go with the ducted one so we can put it in lakes. There is a lake nearby, isn't there? So let's do that one. Doesn't matter. We've got a lake nearby, so we can try that. But I'm going to go with solar power because I like solar. Solar power is nice and easy. We've got two wind farms. We've got two solar farms, a small and a large one. We'll put the large one in. I put it anywhere. Doesn't matter. It can be moved. When you put them down, you see this blue area. This is pollution. The higher the pollution, the lower the efficiency. So if you have it near your factory, it's going to cause problems. Right now it's fine because we're not producing much pollution, and we can always move it later, so that's fine. I also want to put in a battery because solar power only works during the day, so we definitely want a battery so we can run at night. Then we need to connect them all up. Connect them all up with an underground power. Now I can get one underground power line to cover everything. As you can see, it's got a green area, so I'll put it down. Boom, there you go. It's got a green area. The green area is if you want to daisy chain power lines. So if I put a power line here, you can see it's got a white line going to the other power line, and that means that it's transferring power through this. So if you're running long lines, you want to make sure they're within the green area. The different power lines have different size areas, so you might put them closer together. However, you can oh, I did not need to build that one there. Let's destroy that. That was thick. You can do this. If I put this here, this is still going to get power through this factory. Factories, smelteries, any building that uses power can act as a jump between power points. They do not share power between themselves, so they won't share, this won't share power to this one, but it will share power from a power line to another power line. So that is completely valid, and that will be powered because it has a power line through there. So you don't have to put all power lines in around your whole base. You can daisy chain off of other buildings. So a bit of a balance option there. Okay, so if we now unpause this, we'll go along. We'll see here our battery is charging because solar power. Sun is up. We have 2 minutes 20 until dusk. That's fine. Boom, you're going to grab this. You're going to come down here. You're going to drop it off in there, and then you're going to go to the closest point. They are smart enough to go to the closest point to mine. They don't go back to where you told them to mine. They'll go to the closest point to mine from. So you just tell them to mine. Basically, when you're right clicking, you're not telling it to mine this little bit here. You're telling it to mine the whole thing. And there you go. And he's picking up and dropping off in there. We're getting sandstone. Sandstone is going to here to produce concrete. Concrete's going to store in here and then go to here to make building frames. And building frames are going to be stored in here. Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. And there's our very first production producing, which is excellent. It's going slowly now because obviously this is taking 3.8 seconds and this needs to wait ages to get enough concrete, but we'll eventually get enough and then we can go and deliver them to the Saturn Authority and we can complete our mission. But we'll do that next episode. Thank you very, very much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed this one. I am very looking forward to this playthrough. Lots of changes, lots of new things happening, so we'll see how it goes, and we'll see how far we can progress and see if I can do it a lot quicker now I kind of know what I'm doing. So until next time, and as always, have fun.